Hello, Kiana. I enjoyed watching your post. Here are some follow-up thoughts regarding a Christian worldview versus a secular worldview of psychopathology. I like the comment you made regarding any biological or psychological deviance from God's original design being attributed to the fall of man in the garden. There was no indication that any kind of disease or sickness was intended prior to the fall. However, I do think that there's definitely a degree of confusion within the church as it pertains to mental health. Luke 9:1, it says, "And he called the 12 together and gave them power and authority over all demons to cure diseases." A passage like this one can really create a dilemma for someone dealing with a mental disorder. Depending on the disorder, Christians may label it as demonic influence. Also, one can be left wondering, where is my healing? Why isn't God healing me? Then, depending on one's view of God, which sometimes is influenced on their earthly father's relationship or lack thereof, can lead someone to believe God is distant, doesn't care, or is punishing them for something. There's an article by Dean that presents opposing aspects which determine the success of religion helping someone cope with mental distress. In the article, it presents the idea that when an individual uses religious coping strategies like spiritual support and religious assessments of negative situations, that an improved sense of well-being and mental health tends to be the result. On the opposing end, greater use of negative religious coping strategies, like when someone associates God as a punisher, can produce more psychological distress, including greater depression and anxiety. There is one belief that concerns me amongst Christian individuals, and sometimes it's preached from the pulpit. It's that a person should have enough faith to pray and believe for God's healing. And this has a tendency of discouraging people from seeking out mental health exams by a professional. I can't imagine how many suicides may have been prevented if it wasn't for this belief or teaching. Likewise, I've seen from a purely secular standpoint that mental disorders like depression in a family member can be treated as a nuisance, and the person is just a lazy individual who needs to shake it off. As a Christian studying to become a mental health professional, I believe it's important to broaden our view of mental health disorders beyond what our Christian theology has taught us. The Bible wasn't meant to teach us about science, even though there are small details of science hidden throughout. However, it very clearly indicates God's desire to care for the brokenhearted. Thanks for watching my reply.